Room is the title of the song, and it was sung by Matt Maher featuring Chris Brown. And the song, as I mentioned, is titled In the Room. Passion before that with The Lord Will Provide It. We always quote that verse as well. The Lord shall supply all my needs. All we got to do is trust in Him. And then the Shelter sang the song When the Lights Came On, and they feature Bernice West on that song. The time right now is 18 minutes past 11 o'clock here on Reaching High, and it is a Motivational Monday, and we've got a very special lady in the studio with us. She's come to share some career insight, some corporate insight, and you know what, with this feature I'm thoroughly enjoying because I get to learn so much. When I know the listeners of Reaching High are also enjoying this, and I'm talking that then none other than Kodani Hlatshwayo. She is back in the studio with us. She is from Corporate and Career Hub.
Career and Career Hub.
You know, I practice this all the time. It's fine.
I could just see the way you said it with so much confidence to say, I'm getting it right.
You know what?
It's
you know
okay.
what? I think you must
It's okay.
you must review the title, the name of it. I'm only teasing you, Kodani. Welcome back on this beautiful Monday. And if any listener doesn't know who you are, can you just remind them who you are before we do a recap of last week's feature, and then we're going to continue with the topic this week.
Thank you so much, Bantu. Good morning to all the listeners. I'm Kodani Hlatshwayo. I am a founder of Career and Corporate Hub. Oh, I'm getting it wrong as well.
I'm not going to say anything.
I am a team manager, metrology team manager. That's my profession. I work in one of the biggest automotive in the world, not in South Africa. I am a career strategist. I support people with career strategizing, anything career and anything corporate to really create their roadmap. And I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I think I wear many hats, and the ones that I'm most passionate about is education, which is the Career and Corporate Hub.
And you're very passionate about it because
Yeah.
you can even hear it in how you just impart and share the knowledge and the experience that you've gained along the way. So let's recap last week's discussion. We're talking about developing your career, or developing yourself in order to be in that split. You mentioned that that various
The
split.
differentiation rule,
That's
which is 70, 20, 10%.
So for anybody who missed it, can we just recap on that?
Yeah, just a quick one. Last week we spoke about understanding what your position is at work. Are you falling under the 70% people that are rated as average? Are you falling under the 20% employees that are in line for promotion or get high salary increases? Or are you under the 10%, which is employees that are frustrated, ready to resign, or they're basically looking for a job, or they could get fired at any time. So where do you fall under? And we also spoke about salary negotiation, when you go for, or you're looking for an increase, when you go into that discussion, you have to be strategic. It's not just a matter of looking at the amount of work that you're doing, the economy, that everything, inflation, that everything is expensive, or that you've got maybe you come from a big family, therefore with the current salary you're unable to support your family. So you have to be strategic and look at the value that you've added in the company, the value that you are still going to add in the company, and also understand the benchmark, or rather the budget of your position. So, and see where what is the scale, how much are you getting paid from, maybe from the max, or looking at the minimum and the max of that position. Okay. So you need to understand that. Yeah.
And you also mentioned last week talking about whatever task that you've been given, or when you want to go now approach your manager, your supervisor, your boss about that increase, whatever work you've done or added value to, does it align as well to the vision of the company, to the business you're a part of?
Correct.
Because that too also matters, and I didn't realize that actually that too matters. Am I adding value to the company, to the vision of the company as well? We also sometimes have this thing, where I work, it's toxic, it's this, it's that, but am I also adding value and aligning my vision or aligning what I'm doing to align with the vision of the company, to HR, to my supervisor, and that too is a factor that we need to consider as well.
It is a big factor, and a lot of people forget about that, and they look at the activities that they're doing, or rather the work that they're doing, but they don't look at if the scope that they're doing is really aligned with what their manager has envisioned for the department, or what the organization has as the vision, or rather maybe their year business plan. Is it part of the business plan? Yeah.
Sure.
So alignment is very important. I think a lot of people feel like corporate is toxic, and the toxicity sometimes is driven from not being aligned with your manager or the business plan, and you're just working from what you think could add value, but is it really adding value?
Yes.
Is it aligned with your manager's vision or goals for the department?
What I'm thinking also to add on that is it's all about self thing. You're not being part of the team, you're not being part of the vision of the company, because it's all about you wanting to, being the one that is seen like, okay, you better, or you doing all this, but actually you're not even aligning to the vision, you're not even understanding where you're going, and therefore when you are self, you then become opposed to what is happening amongst the team, amongst the company, which then can cause conflict.
Yes, I mean, a lot of people like to work on their strength, and then you find that a lot of tasks that they're doing are aligned with their strength, but not necessarily what is required in the department or in the role that they have occupied. So you have to really, always review that. So that's why reporting to your manager on what you're doing is quite important. Giving that monthly report so that both you and your manager are aligned on what you are doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're over reporting, you're not over, communicating to the manager.
Over reporting is also okay.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I always look at it as long as your manager understands that you're doing, and if you've set up that meeting, like maybe a monthly reporting meeting on what you are doing, that if your manager accepts, then I think that's a way to start to also gauge if you're over reporting or not.
Okay.
Because a lot happens in 1 month, and that's how you get recognized.
Okay.
If you're not reporting on anything, you are waiting for somebody to notice what you are doing, then your work is not going to talk for you. So I'm a big fan of you should speak for your work. So that's when you'll be doing your monthly reporting, that you'll be speaking for your work.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll be able to catch up on what's happening. What is the business plan? What are the goals for whatever that managers bring into the department is obviously driven by what the organization want. So therefore, it will be easier for you to also be aligned with what the business wants.
All right.
Yeah.
Now let's look at conflict. Okay, so we're talking about so being aligned. Now, in case I'm not aligned to my manager, I'm not aligned to the company, and so there is a conflict.
Yeah.
How best should we deal with that conflict? As an employee or as the owner. I mean, I must do my job at the end of the day. So how do we then resolve a conflict when there is one at hand?
Yeah, I think looking at conflict as a whole in corporate, there is the causer of the conflict and also the enabler. So people always look at it as one-sided, that I'm the one that is being affected, but maybe, for an example, it's between a manager and an employee.
All right.
An employee maybe would feel like the manager is using power to cause conflict,
yes.
And then the employee then would fight back to say, I'm not a puppet, maybe, for a lack of a better word, that I'm fighting for my rights,
yes.
I'm fighting for my worth. But then looking at it, manager and the employee fighting, that causes like a lot of conflict and a lot of resistance in having aligned goals.
Yes.
So now looking at resolving it, for me, hierarchy is very important. You have to respect hierarchy, if your manager wants things to be done in a specific way and you're not getting your way through, walk away. Walking away would give you a peace of mind.
All right.
But fighting back would make you, sometimes people get they get to a point where they start recording conversations, they start documenting every single thing that happens. Once you get to that point, you should know that your mental health is not in good place.
Wow.
And that you find that it started like from something very small, just you fighting more on who is right, not what is right.
Yes.
So that's why it's quite important to just walk away, more especially if you're fighting over hierarchy, because you'll never win.
Yes.
Even if you take it to HR will always protect the business, because I've heard a lot of people saying that I was fighting with my manager, although I was right. I took the matter to HR and HR didn't support me.
Yes.
HR will always protect the brand,
Okay.
the business. So HR will always look at more on what can protect the business, although you could be right from that conflict.
Yes.
So for me, never ever ever fight over who is right.
So then HR or the manager would never then choose, okay, so who's right and who's wrong in this instance. It's putting the business first in order for the business to continue to be productive.
Yeah, I mean, they can say the manager is right, because remember, hierarchy, that's what's most respected in a lot of places. So HR could then look at favorating more the manager, and then that would be in favor of the business. Yeah, because the manager, if maybe the employee is the one that's not happy, they are more likely maybe to go to CCMA. And if they get into that conversation with HR and the manager, and HR says, well, I see that the manager is wrong, and then maybe the conversation is detailed, and then the employee is recording, they could use that against the manager and HR, which could then affect the business or the brand. Yeah.
Well, these conversations are things that we should be having on a daily or as much as possible, because we don't know some of these things that affect, and so some people will resort to saying, I can't work in such an environment, therefore I will just resign. So if anybody's listening right now, we're having a chat with Kodali Hlwatswayo, and she is a career strategist, and we're talking about conflict within the office. Perhaps there's a conflict with your manager, with HR, and you are finding yourself like, okay, you want this issue to be resolved, but you just mentioned and touched on that HR will not choose a side, but rather ensuring that the business will be protected, will continue to be productive. The brand, they will rather protect the brand more than the employees. Now, so say you just spoke about CCMA. Now, if anybody, like an employee, feels as though HR is not on their side, they're not helping them, and then they would resort in going to the CCMA or resigning, would that be the best option, or would you just also mention that rather walk away from the beginning?
Walking away can be resigning. If you feel like the relationship is not improving, you've done anything that you could do with all, with your power, and there's really nothing that's working from, improving your relationship. That means you are now in that 10% within the differentiation rule, which means you could just do yourself a favor and look for another job. A lot of people allow most companies to take over their identity, that although they can see that the work space that they're in, maybe there's no growth, there's a lot of conflicts, and they feel like they are right, they rather stay miserable, because now the organization has taken over their identity, instead of walking away and looking for maybe another job. But for me, the first result is really it's not necessary to fight back. You get more peacefully, or you get like a peace of mind by not fighting back. When you fight back, you start becoming paranoia, like you become paranoid about anything that is happening around, like looking at the manager doing every step that they do. You feel like, oh, they're working something against me, they're doing this against me, and it affects your growth as well, because now your focus, instead of growing, working on your development, you're working more on protecting yourself, that nothing works against you. Your manager does not
find fault.
Exactly. Exactly.
To pinpoint something.
Yes, and sometimes, you know, if your manager wants to get you fired, they can try and find some very small things to try and get you fired. Like, for example, monitoring your time. What time are you coming in? Looking at your social media platform as well. Like, what time are you posting, you know? And they can use that against you, that you're not performing because you're coming late, you posting during your during
working
hours. Yes, I've met a lady who said that she was actually fired from that. When she was off sick, and then she posted something, that, like, a picture that she took maybe like months ago, during her off days, like sick leave, and then she was fired because of that. So that was used against her, and the case was not initially that, it was something else. And then when they were trying to build the profile, build a case, then that was part of the case.
So these are the things that someone should be aware of, as we're not aware of it, because we just say, okay, I'll do A, B, and C, and D, and not realize that in the long run that these could be a consequence of my actions.
Correct.
Because we were just having a chat off air about somebody also building a case for the CCMA, and these things count. And sometimes it starts small and then it expands. Remember what you mentioned in terms of, at the beginning, don't fight back. Rather, just choose peace and do your task, deliver your task. Ensure that you do what you were employed to do at the end of the day.
Correct.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have signed a contract that you will deliver according to like a specific expectations from your manager. So that's why when you're having those conflicts, really reflect. Reflecting is very important, and see how you can improve your relationship with your manager. Because I mean, the best way, or you can do yourself a favor by improving your relationship with your manager, because your manager at the end of the day is the one who could advocate for your development, because they are the ones that are working more closer to you. So therefore, if you need to grow from where you are, you need your manager as a sponsor. But if then you are fighting your manager because of maybe like misalignment, oftentimes people fight because of a misalignment or miscommunication. And if you could sit down and really try to communicate and align, a lot of things can, can be resolved easily. Can be resolved easily.
So this is why you also then mentioned that alignment is very important.
Yes, because that's what causes, conflicts.
So having to ensure that you're aligned to the company, to your manager, to the goals of the company, to ensure that there is productivity at the end of the day.
Alignments. That's it. There's nothing more. It's really alignment.
And
when you start hearing people saying that, like talking about negative work culture or just toxic, the work being toxic, I don't even like to use this word. It's because of alignment. And if you feel like there's nothing else you could do after aligning, walk away. I always say pack your bags and go. There's a lot of if you feel like you are, you're very competent, you've got more to offer, just walk away and find yourself another workplace.
Because there are some workplaces where you find I don't even pinpoint a place, but I'm like, where you go and you need a service done, and you can feel the heaviness from the employee who is serving you, and you're like, but if only you could understand that this is affecting your work, the the way that you're carrying yourself and how you serve others. That too also matters, but it's because of misalignment.
Correct.
Now, if anybody wants to get in contact with you with perhaps they need advice career-wise, they need advice with their CV, or any advice in terms of how they can climb the career ladder, how can they contact you?
On LinkedIn is Kodani Hladwayo. On Instagram is Kodani_H. TikTok, it's Career and Corporate Hub. YouTube, it is Career and Corporate Hub. So there's a lot of information about CV writing. I know a lot of people have been asking about CV writing. A lot of information about LinkedIn profiles, how to set up your LinkedIn profile. There's a lot of information also about how to really position yourself in a good place to get promoted at work or salary negotiation. Also the discussion that we also we discussed last week about salary negotiation. You can find it there. Yeah, those are the few platforms where you can find me.
All right. Thank you so much, Kodani, once again for coming in to give us a career insight on how we can climb the corporate ladder and or the career ladder, you know, as well, because it matters. We need to climb, we need to develop, we need to grow. And do you have any books that you can suggest for anybody listening right about now?
I think for the discussion that we're having now, I've got one. It's called sorry.
Okay, so she's taking it up nice.
So how to win friends and influence people. This one talks a lot about perspectives.
Okay.
So when we talk about alignment, we become so judgmental about how people are performing or how our managers are viewing us, but we don't looking at their perspective. Like what do they think about themselves? So you have to really look at things from different perspectives.
That's right. Thank you so much, Kodani, for that one. Can you repeat the title of the book one more time, as well as how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yeah.
And they can contact you on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, and they can email you. Haven't shared your email address.
career.corporatehub@gmail.com.
All right. If anybody would like me to share those details with them, send me a WhatsApp on 0729429270, and I'll gladly link you up with Kodani.
Thank you.